Hi everyone, I'm here with Brent from Two Lanterns Games, and we're here to talk about his latest release, which is Morels. Is that correct way to pronounce
Morels,
it?
Yep.
Great. So if you just want to tell us a little bit about the game and how it's played.
Yeah, well, Morels is a two-player game that relies on set collection and hand management. The basic idea of the game is you are on a foraging hunt in the forest for mushrooms, and you're collecting them and cooking them up for dinner. So you'll score points towards winning the game by cooking mushrooms. That's going to be at the heart of the gameplay. The game comes with a couple of guide cards here, and these explain what you do on your turn. So we have some summarized rules. We've also got a distribution of how many mushrooms of each type, as well as the accessory cards that are present in the day deck. This is the day deck here. This is for when you're on a hike and you're in the daytime. This is the night deck here for when you're foraging mushrooms at night. So basically what I'll do is I'll walk through a couple of different cards and then show you how a few turns work, and you'll have a general sense of the game, hopefully. The mushroom cards, they have two values on them. There's a value under the pan, and there's a value under that foraging stick right there. The value under the pan is the value for cooking the mushrooms in a set of 3 or more. So with the chanterelle that I just showed, that's got a 4 under the pan. So if I cooked a set of 3 of them, it would score me 12 points towards winning the game. The value under the hiking stick, that is a 2 for this particular mushroom. So if I were to sell it in a set of 2 or more, I would get 4 foraging sticks in that example if I had sold 2 of them. The foraging sticks are here, and these will expand your options for what cards you can collect from the forest, which is this running tableau of 8 face-up cards that we have on the table. These are going to be marching down towards us. We're basically hiking this direction. So the game is going to feel like a walk in the woods. All right, so we'll just walk through a couple turns here. We'll say that my opponent is going first on this side. So if Brad is playing this side, he's got these cards here. He's got a tree ear, a fairy ring, a honey fungus. He looks down, and we're walking this way. The 2 cards that are closest to this end are at your feet. So they make for easy collecting. You can just pick whichever one up you want. Well, he's already got a tree ear in his hand, and there's one here, so that makes for a logical pickup for him. So he's going to pick that up and add it to his hand. So he's got 4 cards now. Now, no matter which of there are 5 options for what you can do on your turn. You'll only do 1 of them. So I just showed you 1 option. No matter which of the 5 you do, the card closest to this end will peel off into what we call the decay. That's a temporary discard pile that's going to be available for just a little while. We'll then slide these cards down and refill the forest from the day deck. So you'll always be able to see what's coming at you and what is available and make strategic decisions accordingly. So now it comes over to me. I've got some options here. Now we've got a good opportunity to talk about the hand management side of the game. One of the cards that's available for me right now is a basket. You start the game with an 8-card hand limit. That's going to force the action, force you to be cooking mushrooms, selling mushrooms. You can't get a giant wad of cards in your hand, a la Ticket to Ride, depending on who you play with. So you're going to have to work with that 8-card hand limit. The baskets, however, in the theme of the game, if you're walking in the woods and you're collecting mushrooms, if you've got a basket, you can carry more mushrooms. So if on my turn, let's say that I were to take that basket, it would go into my play area and it will boost my hand limit by 2 cards for the rest of the game. So I am now playing with a 10-card hand limit, which of course will open up a lot more options than what I can do with 8 cards. And there are 5 baskets in the game, and they're additive, so you could get up to potentially a hand limit that's well into the teens. All right, no matter which of the options I choose, 1 goes to the decay, and then we slide the cards down and refill from the back. Okay, now we'll go over and say it's Brad's turn, and we'll say that he likes the idea of collecting both of these cards from the decay. Well, that's great, because one of the options is to take all the cards in the decay. Not always a good thing. You might like to pick and choose the ones that match your hand perfectly, but you have to take them all. So you might have some cards that clutter your hand, and that's just part of the cost-benefit analysis there. So we'll say that Brad takes both of those cards. He starts collecting a shiitake and a chanterelle. Those go into his hand. 1 slides over. So you get an idea, hopefully, for the evolution of how this game flow feels. Now we'll say that I've taken a turn. It's back to Brad. And Brad decides that he's tired of collecting cards just from these 2. He wants more options. So he's going to take his 2 tree ears, and for his turn, since he has 2 like mushrooms, he's going to sell them to locals who are going to let him know the hot spots in the forest. And what he's going to do is, it said there was a value of a 2 under the foraging stick, and he sold 2 of them. So he's going to get 4 foraging sticks to use on future turns. What these will enable is if it was back to Brad's turn, instead of buying these two, let's say that he really wanted this card, which you likely would. This is a Morel. There are only 3 in the game and they're worth a lot of points. He can purchase that from the deeper part of the forest. The cost is 1 stick per card removed from the 2 at your feet. So because this is 2 cards removed, he would pay 2 foraging sticks to take that Morel. He would come into his hand and we'd peel 1 off to the decay. Now you see that there are some cards in here that aren't mushrooms that I haven't explained yet, and I'll do that now. One of the cards that's particularly interesting is the moon. The moon will enable you to go foraging at night. This is the night deck, and it's very simple. There is 1 night card for each of the 8 mushrooms that are in the game. And the night cards, if it were my turn, let's say I took this decay, it's got a pan and a moon. The moon would go straight to the decay. A night card comes into my hand. This is a particularly good one. This is the Night Chanterelle. It's worth 2 mushroom cards smashed into 1. So in every way, it will act like 2 mushrooms. If I cook it, I only need 1 additional Chanterelle to cook with to make that quota of 3 like mushrooms. If I want to sell it, I can sell it by itself because it represents 2 mushrooms and the values will be double here. So I'd sell for 4 sticks, or I'd cook it with another Chanterelle for 12 points total, 4 each times 3. So that's the importance of the night cards. It pumps a little luck into the game, but also, which is a good thing. We didn't want it to be all known information. It's also a little bit sneaky because your opponent is going to see what you've collected from the forest, but they don't know what you've got from the night. It builds in a little deduction as well, because if I haven't been interested in Chanterelles and all of a sudden I'm really interested and I start collecting them, you might deduce that I picked up the Night Chanterelle. Those deductions can add up over the game, and when we get down into the bottom of the night deck in the end game, you might even be able to figure out what those last 2 night cards are and determine whether it's worth it to spend a lot of sticks for a moon or maybe take an option that's better for you. So we've got the sell 2 or more like mushrooms, the cook 3 or more like mushrooms. That's pretty simple. You have to have a pan in which to cook. You start with 1, and there are others that come along during the game. I've actually got 1 there in my hand. And what I would do is, I've got 3 Chanterelles here, so that's just perfect. If it were my turn, I would play the pan and the 3 Chanterelles down together, cook them. Those can't be messed with. Those are permanent points toward winning the game. So I would score 12 points there. We also, this isn't in the rules, but we like to make a little cooking sound when we cook. So if I were playing with my wife, you would have heard a little as I set them down. So that's how I would cook the points. They're there in my play area. You don't need a scoring tracker or pad paper for this game because all the points are right down in front of you. So you can always look down and see what you've got. In terms of working the hand limit, you're not allowed to go over your hand limit, so you've got to make sure that you're doing things to open up space in your hand and enable the plays that you want to make. And that's the gist of the game. There are some other accessory cards I won't go into. We don't want to make this too long. But the Destroying Angel, I couldn't do a mushroom game and not have a poisonous mushroom, so that one will actually cripple your hand in a couple of different ways. It'll force you to discard and play with a lower hand limit for a while. There are some rewards for cooking large sets. We've got some butter and some cider that will reward you if you're able to cook sets of 4 like mushrooms or 5 like mushrooms. And that's basically the gist of the game. We're going to have this flow coming through here. It's going to be all about figuring out what's the best play for me, what is the best play for your opponent. You can play offense or defense, and then controlling the pace of the hike is the last strategic nugget that I'll throw out there. Let's say that we had a situation, we're aware of that the moon cards are particularly handy, and it's my turn, and we'll say that Brad doesn't have any sticks. Now, on my turn, I could pick up either of these cards here. Let's go ahead and get a decay going. I'll say that there's always going to be a decay. So I can pick up either one of these, but if I do that, one will go to the decay, and that moon will be within his reach. It'll be part of the 2 at his feet. If, however, I take the decay, only 1 card peels off the forest, and when we reset the forest, this moon is now just out of his reach. So controlling the flow and the pace of the hike is another big part of the strategy of the game. So that's Morels. Hope you like the sound of it, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, definitely. So you said that this game has just gone on for sale just this week, is that correct?
That's right. We just released. Origins is actually our release, so we've had them in stock for about a week, but it's just taken off.
Great. And what was your road to publication? Kickstarter or another?
We actually decided just to go ahead and self-publish. We had designed quite a few games, and with this one, this was one of those 2 a.m. flashes where you jump up out of bed and go write it down, and you just have a sense that it's going to click. And we had saved up some capital and decided just to go ahead and go all out. We contacted a local artist, found a great guy to do the artwork, and basically built the game over the course of the winter, had it published, and it's now in hand and ready to go.
Great. So do you, obviously, Lanterns Games, you've formed this company. Do you have any plans for future designs, or?
We do. We're designing exclusively 2-player games. That's our goal. I got married in 2008 to a lovely redhead, and we ripped through lots of 2-player titles, and we decided, you know what, we would just like a few more out there that are in the vein of some of our favorite Cosmos 2-player games or other games of that ilk, where it's not necessarily a hardcore gamer game. It's something that can be a gateway. Gamers will certainly enjoy it. New players can enjoy it as well, and we wanted games of that feel. So that's what we're about, and we feel that Morels fills that, and we have a few more ideas, so we're looking at a release possibly in early 2013 as well.
Great. I personally feel that 2-player games work pretty well on tablet devices, specifically iOS in my case, but I'm just wondering, do you have any digital development plans?
That is a possibility. As you might guess from the name of the company, Two Lanterns Games, I'm an old soul and a bit of a caveman, so computers are not my specialty, but I do have a buddy who's really good with iOS and with coding, so it's in the works to possibly create an iOS release. I wouldn't expect that anytime soon, but if the game takes off and does well, it's definitely in the back of the mind.
Great. I really love the art. It looks like a great game. We'll have to get some closer shots of that. But thanks for taking the time to show it to us. It looks really good.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate you having me.